How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the PatriotDIY channel. Now, it's been a long time since we did this and a lot has changed. So this video is going to be our 2025 shop tour. Don't mind the raised beds out in front there. I'm waiting for a customer to come pick those up. But let's go ahead and get the size of the shop out of the way. You can pretty much break this up into three sections. The big middle section there is 30 foot by 40 foot. Then over here on this side, we have a 35 foot by 12 foot side room. And over on this side is a 35 by 12 lean-to. Right in the middle, we have a 10 foot by 10 foot roll-up door. And now that we've got that out of the way, let's step inside. All right, guys, now it's been a couple years since we did a shop tour video and a whole lot has changed. And since I happen to have it clean right now, today is the day. Now, first let me say that while this shop is primarily used day to day for woodworking, it is not just a woodworking shop. This is a multi-use space. So yes, it is a woodworking shop and I'm going to show you all of that. But it's also storage, it's a place for me to work on my truck, it's a hangout spot for friends and family, and as you'll see in a minute, it's my man cave. Now, as we go along in this tour, you will see examples of a lot of different projects that I've done right here on this channel. So if you see something that you like or something you're interested in, make sure you go back and check out our videos. I'm sure I have a video on exactly how I did it and probably even some build plans so that you can build it for yourself. So I'll try to point that stuff out and link it in the description for you. Now I'm going to go through and show you every corner and every tool and everything I have here in my shop. But first, guys, if you haven't done it yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that notification bell, and give me a thumbs up. Now let's go check out my shop as it is today in 2025. Now let's start right at the beginning, right here beside my walk-in door, and with the most embarrassing part of my shop. This is what I affectionately call the junk corner. Now you'll notice first the large storage shelf I have here against this wall. This is a project that I built here on the channel and I do have build plans for that. But as you can see, it has become storage for a lot of different things. Now these are mostly things that I don't use on a daily basis. Everything from my chainsaw and leaf blower to some older tools. I have a pressure washer back here, a small wind generator, a small air compressor, dollies, and really just everything that I didn't have another place for here in the shop. Now moving on down on this wall, this is where my large 10 by 10 roll-up door is. Obviously that's where I'm bringing in materials, pulling my truck in, that kind of stuff. It's also the only spot in the shop that I have to put my ping pong table. But right up above me here is the pulley system that I built in a previous video, and that is where I raise and lower my bed rack for the back of my truck. It doesn't stay on my truck all the time, so I built this pulley system that lifts it up off the truck and stores it securely here at the ceiling, completely out of my way until I need to use it. Now moving on down, this is my CNC machine. It's a 4x2 Shapeoko 5 Pro. This is fairly new to the shop, so you haven't seen it in very many videos yet, but I did build this CNC table here on the channel and I have a full build video for this table as well. You also notice that pretty much all the walls here in my shop are surfaced with 3/4 inch plywood. This is very nice because it makes it really easy anytime I want to mount something up on the wall, which is not always that easy in a metal shop. Now, most of the time my camera is pointed towards the woodworking side of the shop. So this is a side of the shop that you guys don't get to see very often. And this is my own personal saloon. I built this entire wall out with reclaimed barn wood and rusted metal. Even built this awning here over the doorway to give it that old rustic saloon look. It's also home to a bunch of antique tools and stuff that I've collected over the years. And of course, because this shop is also for entertaining friends, I also have the dartboard here. Now, because the other half of my shop is a woodworking shop, I generate a lot of sawdust and stuff that gets in the air here. Dust that I don't really want covering everything over here in my man cave. So because of that, I've installed a curtain system here. So I can totally close off this entire side of the shop when I'm over here working on projects, and I don't have to worry so much about dust getting in there and dirtying up everything. So this is really the man cave, guys. I have a full bank of cabinets here that I did build here on the channel, as well as this rustic bar build. This is a fantastic place to hang out and entertain friends. Of course, you gotta have the TV here on the wall, and what shop is complete without a refrigerator? Also up here on the wall is my Mr. Cool mini split system, keeping it nice and cool in here while I work. Now, I think in my last shop tour video, this entire room was just empty. So this has really been a huge transformation. There's really so much here that I think I'm gonna do a separate video just on the man cave area here. But I will swing the camera around here just to give you guys a little sneak peek at the rest of it. And I've definitely continued with that rustic look, having the stained T111 on the walls, a bunch of antiques and old pictures and stuff, along with a bunch of deer and ducks and turkeys and everything else. And a spot to kick back and relax here anytime I need a break from all the projects going on in the rest of the shop. Now moving on down here out of the man cave area, this is just the bathroom. Got a shop sink in here, and this room also serves as a good storage spot for cleaning supplies, first aid stuff, and a lot of other things here in the shop. So if you saw my last shop tour, this area here right outside the bathroom should look a lot different, a lot more organized to you. And this is where I store a lot of my scrap wood. So over here, I have a pull-out plywood rack. So this is where I store most of my plywood cutoffs and stuff like that. This will even hold 5 full sheets of plywood as well. But this is very convenient because I can slide this back against the wall and keep it over here out of the way. But then when I need to grab a piece, I just pull it out and I can grab what I need. Right beside that is my vertical lumber storage. You can see I kind of have this sectioned off. This is a great way to store scrap wood and lumber and things like that, especially if you have limited wall space. To store it vertically like this, it's the same way you'll see your hardwoods and nicer woods stored at like Home Depot or something like that. So I have these racks here, and then everything is chained off just for safety, so I can unchain it whenever I need to grab something, and then I just hook these chains back just to make sure these aren't going to fall over and hurt anybody. And you can really store a lot this way and take up a very minimal space in your shop. Now, one difference between my shop and most wood shops is that I have a ton of empty floor space, unused space here just out in the middle of the floor. Now, yes, that is space that I could use for workbenches or other tools or things like that. But like I said, my shop is a multi-use space. So I like to have this large area for entertaining. I can set out tables here for parties. We can play cornhole here if we want to. And yes, it is nice to have a big open floor space in your shop for when you're building large projects and things like that. Moving on down the wall here is my wood stove, and I've installed a stone wall here. Now, first of all, I think this looks really cool here in the shop, but also during the winter months, this wood stove is primarily how I heat the shop. Now, I do have the Mr. Cool system, and that does heat as well, and it does a good job of it. But this is a free way to heat the shop. Not only can I use split firewood, but I can also use cutoffs from different projects and stuff and throw in here as fuel to keep the shop warm during the winter. Now let's move on down to most of the stuff that you're probably actually here to see, and that is the woodworking side of the shop. A lot of things going on here on this wall. Right here, this entire section of wall is outfitted with French cleats, so I can build different tool holders and things like that to store really anything I want here. It's good vertical storage for the tracks, for my track saw. I also have some pipe clamps here, various different sizes of levels. And down below here is also where my son's little workbench is. And right in front of all that is my old Sears Craftsman drill press. I honestly don't use this a ton in my shop, but it's one of those things that when you do need it, it's really the only thing that'll get the job done. Now, up above me here is my adjustable lumber rack. This is another project that we did here on the channel, and of course I do have full build plans for this as well. I don't have much stored up here right now, but this is a fantastic way to store a bunch of lumber up high on your wall to keep it out of the way. And down below all that, you can see I have more French cleats on the wall, and then my basic workbench. This is just your standard basic workbench, 4 legs and a top, but it was designed so that my flip top planer and jointer cart will fit underneath it. I do have build plans for this as well, but this is a rolling cart and it houses my Win jointer, a couple storage drawers, and the flip top portion houses my Win 13-inch planer. And the reason I built it like this is because when I need to use my planer, I can flip it up, lock it in, and use it. And then when I'm done with it, I can flip it back down and very conveniently store this entire cart here underneath this workbench so it stays out of the way and I don't have to have these large tools out anywhere else in the shop. Now looking here on top of this bench is my rigid spindle and belt sander. It's really the best in its class. On this bench I also have a grinder wheel, and moving down I have various storage boxes for all of my fasteners. Now first here up on the French cleat wall, I just have this little organizer that houses a bunch of loose fasteners, small things that I don't use a ton of, but anytime I need it, I can just come over here and pull out what I need. Of course, you'll also see I still have a bunch of fasteners and stuff that's in there. Its original boxes just sitting here and there. But the primary organizers for my fasteners is going to be these cases here from Harbor Freight. Now if we take some time to quickly go through these, this first one here is all different sizes of deck screws and wood screws stored conveniently in these little trays. So anytime I need a specific size screw for a certain project, I can just pull this little tray out and take it with me and then put it back when I'm done. Next is going to be all of my pocket screws, all the different sizes and variations of pocket screws, along with these little dowels for filling the pocket holes. Next is going to be brad nails and narrow crown staples, all the different lengths here stored again conveniently in these little trays. And then the larger one here is going to be my self-centering jig for drilling dowel holes. I got several different sizes of pre-cut dowels. I'm also going to store biscuits for my biscuit joiner down in here. And then here in the corner is the subject of some of my most popular videos here on the channel, and that is my Harbor Freight dust collector that I upgraded into a 2-stage dust collector system, added the cyclone and the filter, and ran all of the ducting here in the shop from this. There are several different videos on the dust collection system here on the channel, so make sure you go check those out if you're interested in that. You can see I have it split right here at the beginning of the system, so I can switch from the ducting that goes out to the shop to all the tools here to this long 35-foot dust hose that I can use with several different attachments and floor sweeps and stuff for cleaning off workbenches, vacuuming up the floor, that kind of thing. Next, out here in the middle of the floor is the heart of my shop, and that is my outfeed and assembly table. This is a full 4x8 workbench, and everything that I build here on this channel ends up right here on this assembly table. Now this may be a sore subject for some of you guys because I built this a little while back and I promised you that I was going to build cabinets and drawers and stuff underneath this, and as you can see, I still haven't done that yet. Underneath this table has become storage for a bunch of other stuff that I rarely use. I have my portable job site skill table saw down here, along with my old Cobalt miter saw and a bunch of other little odds and ends that I just needed somewhere to put, so I shoved them up under there. But don't worry, I will get to building the cabinets and drawers for this assembly table very soon. Now I love this table. Not only do I love having a full 4x8 work surface to work off of, but I also love the T-track here going around the perimeter of the table. That gives me a great place to mount clamps and hold downs for different projects and jigs and all kinds of stuff like that. So if you're interested in building an outfeed or assembly table like this, again, I do have a full video on it as well as digital build plans. And obviously right here at the end of the outfeed assembly table is my SawStop 10-inch professional cabinet saw. And I know there are some SawStop haters out there because of the price, but y'all, this is the best thing I have ever bought for this shop. The operation of this thing is fantastic. I love the size of it, and obviously it's gonna help me make sure I keep all my digits. Now, until recently, I was just using a shop vac and a Dust-Right dust separator here underneath the assembly table as my dust collection for the table saw. But in the last couple weeks, I've added this ceiling mounted 4-inch PVC ducting coming from my main system over here, and it just drops down right here beside the table saw. Now the shop vac and the dust right separator did a pretty good job, but there is no comparison to having this plumbed in to my dust collection system. I just have this drop down from the ceiling, have the blast gate right here within arm's reach, and then the flex hose goes the rest of the way down to the table saw. Also just recently added the IVAC automatic dust control system to this. So whenever I'm using the table saw, I don't have to walk over and turn on the dust collection. I have it set up so that when I turn on the table saw, the dust collection comes on automatically. Now to what you guys probably see most of here on the channel, the backdrop for most of my videos, and that is my French cleat tool wall and my miter station. I think in my last shop tour video, I had the French cleat wall, but I didn't have any tool holders on it. You can see that has changed drastically. I have a ton of different tool holders here now, and of course I do have videos as well as build plans for every single one of them. So if you're interested in building out a French cleat wall with all the tool holders like this, I do have build plans for that linked in the description below. So down at this end, I have my drill charging station. This is a fantastic way to store all of your battery powered tools and chargers and batteries and everything else. You can see there's a couple shelves here and you can use that for anything you want to, but I have most of my driver bits, drill bits and stuff like that here. You can see I also have some other little bit kits up here along with my palm router, and I have all of my extra batteries mounted here on the side. So once they're charged, if I'm not using them in a tool yet, I can just move them over here and they store nice and organized out of the way. And obviously down here we have tool hangers for all of my various cordless tools. Also down at this end, I also have various different squares and straight edges and stuff like that just hanging up here on the wall, along with my Craig 720 Pro. So I mounted the Craig 720 Pro to this plywood base. It has a carry handle for carrying it around the shop, and then I just built a wooden hook to hang that on. And then I just have a holder here for shop rags, nitrile gloves, and then a paper towel holder. Now just up above all that is my YouTube counter. Today it's reading 102,000, so thank you guys for that. Down at this end of the French cleat wall, I got several other tool holders. First here is my handsaw holder, and these are just held in with gravity. This is a pretty cool project. If you guys are interested in building that or any of these other ones, again, plans linked in the description. Just below that is my tape measure and safety glasses shelf. So I got all my various tape measures here. You can never have too many tape measures because eventually they're going to end up strode all over the shop anyway. Same thing with your safety glasses, so that all just hangs. Right beside that is the sanding cabinet. This is going to be home for all of my different sanding discs, all of my different palm sanders, as well as sanding blocks, belts for belt sanders, and then here in this drawer is just some miscellaneous items. And all the little shelves here for these sanding discs are pull-out shelves, so it makes it easy to get to everything. Keeps everything right up here where you need it. Right beside that is a holder for my belt sander. Down below that is my glue holder. It's just a little organizer that holds all of my wood glues, CA glues, brushes, and all that good stuff. And then moving down to the end is my various clamp racks. So I have a few racks here for the parallel clamps, a nice long rack for different sizes of F-style clamps, and then a smaller version of that for some of the smaller F-style clamps. Now this is full right now, and as you can see I have other clamps that are just sitting here on top of the workbench. So I'm going to need to build more clamp racks here pretty soon. Alright guys, now this may be my favorite part of the shop, and it is my 15-foot long miter station. For those of you that have been following the channel for a while, you know I started with a basic version of this. Then I went back later and added all the cabinets and drawers and everything down below it. Now, this thing is fantastic. It's super long, so I can cut really anything I need to here at the miter saw on this nice long station. Of course, it also gives me a bunch of extra work surface anytime I need to use this to work off of, or even really just need a place to sit stuff. It's great to have this much tabletop space here in the shop. I love this thing, guys, and as you can see, I built this integrated T-track and tape measure here into the top of the workbench. So when I'm cutting stuff, all I need to do is align my stop block with whatever length I need. I can butt my workpiece right up to this stop block, and I know it's going to be accurate every single time. My miter station is also going to be home to my 12-inch Delta Cruiser miter saw. I've had this about 1.5 years now, definitely new since my last shop tour video. And I got to tell you guys, I love this thing. The operation of this is just so smooth. Now, I think really the coolest part of the miter station is all of the storage underneath. So I'm going to real quickly go through some of these drawers and cabinets just to let you know what I have going on down here. So starting down here at this end, in this first top drawer, I have a bunch of table saw stuff. So different cartridges for the saw stop, some setup blocks, riving knives, dado insert. Down here in this case is the dado blades, and then various different push sticks and stuff like that. Down below that is a nice big open cabinet, and that's where I store my skill router table, just to keep it down here out of the way whenever I'm not using it. You can see I also have several different router accessories, my routers, and then the iron there is for any time I'm doing edge banding. Next drawer here is a bunch of different edge banding tools here, router bits, more router bits, and my circle cutting jig. Now to this bank of 5 different drawers. The top drawer here, not quite as organized as I'd like it to be, but this is some of my eye gauging layout tools and squares and things like that. Next drawer is everything Craig. Every Craig jig you could think of, it's in here. Next is going to be different types of little corner clamps and 90-degree clamps. Again, some 90-degree corner clamps there. And this is something you might not have seen before. I have a whole bunch of hockey pucks. These are for putting out here on the workbench to keep your workpiece raised up off the workbench anytime you're painting, sanding, whatever you might need to raise your workpiece up off of the workbench. Hockey pucks are great for that because they're rubber, they don't slide that much, and they're super cheap. Next drawer down here is all the Dremel stuff. So I have a couple different Dremel bit kits and my cordless 8250 Dremel tool. And then down below that is going to be a bunch of different hardware and stuff. So you see I got some hinges, some handles, more hinges, some little rubber feet, corner casters, and some drawer slides down in there. Just kind of a cabinet hardware drawer. Moving on down to the small drawer here beside the miter saw. Have a notebook here for writing down plans and stuff like that. And then just pens, pencils, calculators, scissors, that kind of stuff. Down below that is going to be my offcut drawer. So anytime I'm cutting here at the miter saw and I have tiny little offcuts, I drop them down into here and they become fuel for my wood stove later. Then down here I have a lot of my different power tools. So on these slide out shelves, you can see I have a couple different circular saws, track saw, jigsaw, planer. Then down here, biscuit joiner, drill, nail gun, angle grinder, that kind of stuff. These little pull-out shelves are great for getting all those power tools stored away so they're not just sitting out all over the shop. And then down here beside the bench, just sitting on the floor, is my metal cutting chop saw. Then moving on down here from the miter station is my Laguna 1412 bandsaw. I do have the mobility kit on there, so I can just pull this out anytime I need to use it. This thing is fantastic. It's a 14-inch bandsaw. And again, I do have a full review video of this bandsaw. If you're in the market, maybe the Laguna 1412 is for you. And again, I do have this bandsaw plumbed into my dust collection system, and I had this outfitted with that IVAC automatic dust control system. So whenever the bandsaw comes on, the dust collector automatically comes on. And then moving down close to where we started, I have a big metal Husky storage cabinet here and a large Husky mechanics toolbox. So first we'll take a look in this cabinet. This is mostly going to be finishes and paint. So spray paints, stains, clear coats. My Graco DC Pro paint sprayer is also down in here. Paint brushes, glues, and other little odds and ends here on the pegboard doors. And then moving on to the large Husky mechanics toolbox. First, it has this large lid here at the top. This gives you kind of a little workspace, storage area for taller items. It also has a power strip mounted in here, so this is kind of where I charge and store a lot of my camera gear down in here. And then let's just very quickly run through some of these drawers. So top drawer here, socket wrenches, extenders, screwdriver sets, and a bunch of various different types of screwdrivers. Next is my first tray of sockets. Right beside that is every kind of plier or cutter you could think of, right down in here. Third drawer, the next tray of sockets, and a few different little layout tools, squares, and then a few empty bins there. Next drawer, another tray of sockets. Back here I have files, chisels, punches, some different carving tools, and different wire brushes and things like that. Moving down to this middle drawer, different sizes of wrenches, adjustable wrenches, Allen wrenches here on this side, some different specialty sockets and stuff like that, impact sockets, little drivers for my impact gun. Then moving down to the bottom drawers, different staple guns, zip ties, glue sticks, hot glue gun, hammer stapler. And then this is kind of my electrical drawer, so different wire strippers, wire, different butt connectors, and all kinds of stuff for doing electrical work. This drawer is mostly just tape. Looks like I also have a tire repair kit and a laser level in that one. Then down in the bottom, 300-foot tape, different hammers, monkey wrenches, crowbars, PVC cutter, some air tools down in there, a bunch of just random large stuff that goes nicely down on here on this bottom drawer. And then the final three drawers, a bunch of tape measures, stud finders, chalk lines, chalk for that. This is just miscellaneous little parts and pieces. I have some trailer pins, grommets, furniture feet, tap and die set, things like that. And last one is just different caulks, some knee pads, there's some gloves down in there. And that is it for the mechanics toolbox. And we have returned back to where we started. All right, guys, that is it for my 2025 shop tour. Those of you that saw my last shop tour a couple years ago, obviously a lot has changed. That means we've done a ton of projects here in the shop, and things are continuing to change. I have lots of big projects coming up that you're definitely not gonna wanna miss, so make sure if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and give me a thumbs up. Now let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you like the layout? Are there things you would have done different? Are there other tools you think I should have? Make sure you let me know all that down in the comment section. And don't forget, nearly everything that I showed you here in this video has its own video and its own set of build plans. So if you're interested in any of that, make sure you go back in my video list. Make sure you check out the Etsy store for all of those build plans. And of course, if you were hoping I was going to show more of the man cave side, don't forget, I'm doing a whole separate video on the man cave area. So check that out as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.